We are playing Lies Beneath. This is a VR horror game that came out earlier in the year. I played it shortly after it launched, and it quickly became one of my favorite VR games. So, I'm going to be playing through it a second time and see what I think about it going through it again. Lies Beneath is pretty different from most of the VR horror games we've played. Usually, those games have been slower games focused on exploration of an environment and finding items that we use to solve puzzles, unlock doors, things like that. Lies Beneath isn't really like that. Lies Beneath is much more focused on combat, and it does it very well. So a big reason that I like this game so much is how well just the mechanics work. The combat, the shooting, the melee, it all works as good as I've seen from any VR game. So it's a very fun game to play, not just a good horror game, but actually fun. We're going to click to begin. We're going to get started with Lies Beneath. What controls do I want? Well, it asks about teleportation, snap rotation, or smooth motion. Of course, I'm going to go with smooth motion, but I do like the graphics they use for each of these. For teleport, they show a boat on smooth waters. For snap rotate, those waters are getting choppy. For smooth motion, the boat's just sinking. It's just sinking at that point. But we're going to go with smooth motion. We have some options to check. I want hand relative. Like, look relative means I'll move where I'm looking. Hand relative means I will move where my hand is pointing. I prefer hand because then I can look around while moving forward. Left hand will be the hand for movement. And all this should be fine. Difficulty? Well, there's casual, which you got easier combat, more ammo and food, if you want a more story-based experience. Normal is you got normal combat, normal amount of ammo and food, just a normal amount, if you want a more action-based experience. And hard is super hard. We'll just go with normal. That should be fine. And now we are taken to the tutorial void. This is where we must learn how to play. Move and turn using the thumbsticks, says the giant controllers in front of me. I also have my normal controllers in front of me. I will move around with the thumbstick, but I don't like to turn using the thumbstick. I just prefer to turn using my actual head and body. It's much more immersive when you're playing a VR game. Also, it's much easier to get motion sickness if you're using the thumbstick to turn back and forth instead of your head. So I really would recommend just using your actual head instead of the thumbstick. Look at this guy over here. How you doing? All right. He's just hanging out. It's not hurting anyone out here in the tutorial void. I will continue playing using these controls. The tutorial road extends towards a giant controller in the distance. What does this have to say? It says I use the pause menu if I want to change my options. There you go. Here's the pause menu. It says Chapter 1. We're not actually on Chapter 1. We haven't even started the game yet. No stats because the game hasn't started, but there is our character right there. You can see her. Her name is May. We will get to know more about her. Down here it says lore objects. Nothing in here as of yet, but this game has archive items. Not nearly as many as Siren, but there are a few, and those will flesh out the story, because the story is told in kind of an obtuse way, which is fairly common in horror games, so we will want to keep an eye out for those objects to give us more information on the backstory. The road here says to run. And the thumbstick? Yes, click that thumbstick to run. We will do that. Look down to see my belt holsters. There they are. I have these 3 white circles. 2 of them are at my belt. I can put weapons and food on my belt to carry them with me. Not many inventory slots. The inventory slots right there. What can you carry on you, as also what can you hold in your hands? So you can't hold much. But what I can hold right here is my lighter. My lighter is always with me. It's a very important item. The lighter, the embers on the lighter will tell me the way to go. They're telling me to go right. And now they're telling me to go left. The lighter can be used indefinitely. It never runs out of fuel, which is good, because we will need to use it. It's very important. But for right now, I will put it away. I hurt myself on those branches. If my hands become bloody, and they are bloody now, it means I've lost health. So our hands are our health meter. The more blood on the hands, the more hurt I am. I will take this apple, though. And as the giant face back there watches, I will eat the apple. Nope. To heal my hands. Nope. Nope. And there we go. Just like that. Over here, we can grab and release objects near our hip to holster them. I got this sharpened stick. I can put it down at my waist. Now I can carry that with me. But I don't actually need it right now. Let's step forward to begin. Now, Lies Beneath, the story is told in the form of a comic. I like the artwork of this comic. I think it's very neat. We will read. It says, it waits, it lurks, it lies beneath, lurid lure to alarm and harm. Only 5 cents. What a deal. Okay. Frightful felicitations, Fear fans. I've got a malignant masterpiece that is sure to mangle your minds. A young university student returns home. But will this haunting homecoming be a happy one? In Don't Hold Your Breath. May's been putting this trip off for a long time, but now she's all out of excuses, and she's got no choice. It's time to go home. And, May, she comes from the small town of Slumber, Alaska. Slumber's a pretty good name for the small town that your horror game's going to take place in. May's been away for a while. I think it's school. But now she's coming back home. She doesn't really want to, but she's gotta. How was the ferry? It was alright. That's good. The weather's been strange lately, and then when the boat was late... Honestly, Dad, I'm more worried about you driving around in this hunk of junk. Very funny, kid. Dad does not appreciate his car being made fun of. It's old, but it's been reliable. Hey, do you have the lighter I gave you? Huh? Oh, yeah, but you know I don't smoke. It's not just for that, May. It's been in the family for a long time, and it's time you learn the truth. But then, a figure walks in front of the car. Watch out, says Dad. And May spins the wheel to evade the figure, but drives over this ridge. And just like that, freezing water presses in like frozen knives. She claws at the water, impossible to know the difference between up and down. But somehow, she draws on energy she didn't even know she had. She lives. As May... My hand is vanishing. Why is my hand vanishing like that? There we go. May punches up through the ice. And we begin. In Chapter 1, End of the Road. Well, there's the car that we crashed, and that's a lot of blood on our hands, and that's a lot of blood on the ground. Just blood all over. So you can see the ridge that May drove off of and that broken barrier. So we came off the ridge and hit those rocks, and I assume May was ejected out of the car and landed there, and you can see like the impact point where she went in the ice. And then I guess she punched her way out of this other hole, crawled out onto these rocks, which is where she is right now. That's a very bad accident. That is surprising that May is standing right now. The blood in my gloves begins to freeze, and I feel it crack as it meets the cold air. I try to shout for my dad. Dad? But my throat fails me. My lungs burn with the effort. The smell of burning rubber snaps my mind into focus, and I'm gripped with sudden panic. Dad's still in the car. He is. We need to go get him. So we will be seeing May's thoughts throughout the game, shown in these dialogue boxes. And May does have many thoughts. She has many opinions that she needs to tell us about. We will learn many of them. I clamber away from the stone and ice and find easier footing. There's a path here. In many survival horror games, you don't really get to know too much about what your character is thinking. But that's not the case here. We have many thoughts. I feel a tightening in my chest, and I suddenly know I'm being watched. I hold back a cry for help. Something isn't right here. Yeah, up there, you can see the person that we almost hit. They're just standing there, watching. Well, maybe they're going to get some help. The car is totaled. Fire is consuming the very place I sat minutes ago. It's empty. Dad? Where are you? Is this blood yours? Well, we can see blood coming out of the window. I guess Dad crawled out of there. And then blood onto the rocks and down here and into the cave. All this blood leads away. At least you survived the accident. Why didn't you look for me? Well, considering how much blood Dad is losing, maybe he is confused right now. Maybe he hit his head and is just stumbling around. Unfortunately, I can't say blood. Hope this isn't Dad's blood, because we know it's Dad's blood. It is a certain thing. It's Dad's blood. So, we'll be examining this. It's so dark. I can't make my way through. I look down. Yes, I still have Dad's lighter. So let's use the lighter to light our way through the cave. The cave is full of what appear to be tree roots? Is I guess what these are? Yeah. I blink, trying to make sense of what I'm seeing. Well, that was the person that was in the road. They just walked off that way. The lighter says we should head in this direction, however. There they are again. That is a strange thing to find in a cave. So pretty. Memories stir, slippery fingers grabbing at empty air, and this doll needs to burn. Burn it. Well, I guess we're just going to ignore the patient here in this gurney, because May is primarily thinking about this doll right here, and she feels that it needs to burn. Our lighter is glowing red for some reason. Well, if May thinks it needs to burn... we find ourselves in the darkness, but fortunately, we still have our lighter. We must be getting tired. Very tired. Whoever that was did not hang around for very long. If they did, you can be sure they were getting a kiss. Those things in there, couldn't be real. How bad did I hit my head? That is true. It could be possible that May was injured in the crash, because it was a very bad crash. Here's Dad's blood leading this way. It seems like it might be a bad idea to cross this, but the blood, it keeps going in that direction. It may be, but we can't go in that direction. We're being blocked by this trap. Great. I'll have to find another way around. Well, that is another way, but if we wanted to, maybe we could go back to the car and see if there are any supplies there that we could take with us. Since who knows where we're going or how long it'll take to get there. Well, that seems strange. I guess we're not going back to the car. Alright, only one way to go then. Maybe there's some kerosene left? Yes, these lanterns are checkpoints. So you don't need to guess about whether or not you reach a checkpoint. It's these. You gotta light them. My heart rate starts to slow as I take in my surroundings. These woods are not how I remember them. Yeah, when we were young and we used to play in these woods, we really don't remember the red-eyed giant bat. That's probably new. But those are just birds. Well, we're blocked off from going that way. I don't know why someone would bother putting up planks like that, but we can't go. He'll probably be alright. He's not doing anything. He's just hanging out up there. The village I grew up in isn't far. I remember camping here as a child, just Dad and I. Him laughing at his jokes, me not laughing at his jokes. This place feels weird now, like it's sick. Well, that's what May says. I mean, it is a pretty overcast day. No one's feeling good today. I hope they're okay. Talking about the people on this post here. We can take it. And it is a lore object, missing campers. So we've added an object to the lore. Also, because we got this, Apple unlocked at campfire, it says. Campfires are places where we will get supplies and save points. So the more lore objects we unlock, the more supplies there will be at the campfires. So now, there's going to be an apple waiting for us there. The paper feels brittle in my hands, like one spark would make it burst into flames. Well, we can't really read this, it's all smudged, but the lighter does show us information that we wouldn't get otherwise. I scan what it says. Authorities are investigating the disappearances of local teenagers Betty Jean Odell and Harris Gorky. Camping in the woods is prohibited until further notice. There is a tent here. Maybe this is where they camped. And maybe they just never returned from their camping trip. The text there does say that this seems like this could ignite easily. So what if we did that? One solid torso, arms weak, 4 sturdy legs, a good haul. Well, that seems strange. Also, the skull faces seem pretty strange. There's also an icon on the back of this. Looks kind of like Dr. Manhattan's symbol, but not exactly. Lore object has been added. Okay. So we got a red dialogue box that sounded pretty strange. But that is how we're ending Chapter 1 and entering Chapter 2. Here's a campsite. I'm going to light this up. And that's our save point. And that heals any damage that we took. So, that's Chapter 1 of Lies Beneath. I think we'll do one video per chapter. That sounds organized. Some chapters longer than others, some are shorter, so we'll see how this goes. There are 20 chapters in all, and we have now finished the first one. May was returning back to her hometown, had a bad accident, in a scene that I assume is a deliberate reference to Silent Hill 1, where someone walked into the road, and then we had to spin the wheel to not hit them, and then we had an accident. When we woke up, a family member was gone, and now we're looking for them. However, we have not seen anyone else, so May has not been able to ask anyone if they've seen an adult man, short, black hair, turned 55 last month. My father has not been able to ask that. Maybe she'll be able to ask that as we continue on in Lies Beneath. But first, let's take a look at lore objects. Okay, we now have one, missing campers. So this is the text that we have seen. Over here, this is May talking about what she observes. But this is kind of weird, this red text, and it has that symbol on it. Doesn't sound like May's voice. Each of the lore objects will have May talking and also whatever this is. And we can see the silhouettes of the lore objects to give us an idea of what they might be. So, like, for example, this one is probably a book. Some of them can come in 2 pieces, so you would have to find both pieces and put them together. Sometimes 3 pieces in this is clearly a crab. So these objects will flesh out a little bit of the story. Just give us a little bit more information and backstory as to what's going on here. So we will want to find them as we go. So that's chapter 1 of Lies Beneath, and we will continue on as May travels through the woods looking for Dad.